This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hello, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, October the 12th, the year 1986, one seemingly calm home run hit by Dave Henderson changed the outcome of the ALCS. Before we get to that, let's give you some context. It's the 1986 American League Championship Series between the Boston Red Sox and the California, now called Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So, the Angels and Red Sox won their divisions and all that. Boston came back and did it good in 86, whereas the Angels were always snake bit. They almost won the 85 AL West title, but Kansas City nipped them at the line. Boston had a great 86 season. Roger Clemens had a 20 strikeout comparatively good job. The Red Sox starters were getting there. Wade Boggs was hitting like he normally did. And Bill Buckner was putting up 100 RBIs, despite being a little bit hobbled. So anyway, the Red Sox and Angels would meet in the ALCS. Boston had home field advantage because they had the better record. So anyway, Red Sox won 95 games, Angels won 92 games. So in game one, unexpectedly, Roger Clemens got shelled heavily. Mike Witt, the 6'9" pitcher who threw a perfect game a couple years prior, was the hero. Brian Downing put up 4 RBIs, and Mike Witt only allowed Marty Barrett's RBI single. Clemens couldn't believe it, his luck and all that. So Clemens lasted 7 innings, or longer than he should have lasted. But yeah, the Red Sox just had nothing. Game 2, Boston came back thanks to Bruce Hurt's great performance against Canadian Kirk McCaskill. Wade Boggs and Wade Barrett did their job. It was 2-1. The Red Sox put up 3 runs in the 7th and the 8th to win the game 9-2. Wally Joyner went deep for the Angels. Jim Rice went deep for the Bull Sox. Game 3 saw the Angels win 5-3 thanks to John Candelaria's win over Oil Can Boyd, with Donnie Moore picking up the save. That'll be the last time he mentioned Donnie Moore. Dick Schofield and Gary Pettis both hit home runs. And it was huge. The Angels were up 2-1. The only problem was that Wally Joyner actually got hurt in that game. And he had an infection in his shin or something. And he was basically almost done for in the postseason. Anyway, Game 4 saw California come back from 3-0 down in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game. Roger Clemens looked good. He was solid. Bill Buckner had an RBI double. Marty Barrett had an RBI single. And then an error on a Buckner ground ball where Buckner was the hitter. Marty Barrett just scored to make it 3-0. Fortunately for the Angels, things were good as Doug Corbett did load the bases, but had a force out. So Don Sutton was the guy for the Angels. I forgot he pitched for the Angels. Sutton. Anyway, in the bottom of the 9th, Doug DeCensis came up and hit a home run. After the next batter grounded out, Dick Schofield, Bob Boone singled. Clemens was removed for Calvin Schiraldi. And Boone was replaced with a pinch runner, Gary Pettis. A pinch runner. Gary Pettis doubled to score Schofield. Rupert Jones was intentionally walked. But 2 batters later, Brian Downing was hit by the pitch, bringing in the tying run. Doug Corbett pitched well in the 10th and 11th. And California got a win as Bobby Grich had a single that scored Joey Naron. California was up 3-1. It was time to celebrate on ABC with the great Al Michaels doing the call. California needed to win this game to avoid having to go back to Boston for the rest of the ALCS. It would be Mike Witt versus Bruce Hurst. California started out fast. Boston led 2-0 on a Rich Gedman home run. But Bob Boone hit a home run, making it 2-1. Bobby Grich then hit a home run in the bottom of the sixth to make it 3-2. Unfortunately, that was actually aided by Dave Henderson deflecting the ball with his glove over the fence. So with that, the Angels were up 3-2. They would add on a pair on Rob Wilfon's RBI double and Brian Downing's sac fly. So it was 5-2. Looked good for the Angels. In the ninth, Mike Witt was still in the game and allowed a single to Buckner. Buck got Jim Rice, putting him 2 outs away from his second complete game victory. However, with 2 strikes, Don Baylor, who Boston really sold the farm to get, hit a 2-run shot to make it 5-4. Witt obviously had to be taken out of the game. Well, Witt did get the second out, but was replaced by Gary Lucas because Gedman was 3 for 3 against Witt. Lucas, who is known for his control, accidentally plunked Gedman, which meant he was at first base. Gedman was on first. Lucas gone. Donnie Moore would come in, trying for a second save of the series and to force the Angels to the World Series against either the Mets or Astros. That series had not been done yet. Anyway, he was at 2 strikes, and he tried a fork ball, and it was looped into the left field stands. If I can get the Al Michaels call. I can't find the Al Michaels call. I'm trying to remember it from memory. Fly ball, deep left field, Downing at the wall, it's gone. Henderson did it. Boston with a home run. And California was 1 strike away from turning things into Fantasyland. You can think about a home run for the ages. You hit one. It's as big as Carlton Fisk's home run to everyone in the Northeast. I know I missed the call, but, I can't find the call anywhere. Without running afoul of YouTube. Anyway, it was a home run for Boston, 6-5. So Dave Henderson redeemed himself in a sense for that home run that bounced off his glove and helped Bobby Grich get one. So Boston ended up taking a 6-5 lead. But contrary to popular belief, that was not the end of the game whatsoever. In the bottom of the ninth, Bob Stanley came on and gave up a single to Bob Boone. Boone was replaced by Rupert Jones to pinch run. Gary Pettis sacrificed Jones to second, and Wilfong hit an RBI single off Joe Zambito, tying the game. Schofield singled, sending Wilfong to third. Downing was intentionally walked to load the bases with 1 out. And it looked like a sacrifice fly would end the game, and the Angels would actually win anyway. But unfortunately, Doug DeSantis poked a ball that was too short, and Steve Crawford got Grich to line out to him. So at 6-6, it was over for regulation. The team settled down, but the Red Sox had the bases loaded in the 11th off of Donnie Moore, who was still in the game for some dumb reason. And then Henderson hit a sac fly, scoring Don Baylor to make it 7-6. Kevin Schiraldi came in for the bottom 11th and picked up the save. Boston was now coming back. Now you'd be thinking, well, that's it, game, set, match, in a sense. I mean, if you're an Angels fan, you're like, oh no, here we go again. We choked again. 79 we choked. 82 we choked. We're going to choke in 86. Now, to be fair, California did win 1 game in Boston, so they could have done it. So it was on to game 6. Oil Can Boyd versus Kirk McCaskill, just like in game... Yeah, they faced each other. The Angels did get back-to-back 2-out doubles by Reggie Jackson and Doug DeSantis. But the Red Sox tied the game without a hit. With runners on second and third, There was a pass ball on Boone, and then Jim Rice's ground out. RBI ground out made it 2-2. In the third, Marty Berra hit an RBI double, make it 3-2. Bill Buckner made it 4-2 with an RBI single. And then Don Baylor's 2-run single made it 6-2. The game was pretty much over, even though Brian Downey did hit a home run off oil can. It was 10-4 for the Red Sox, so it was up to Game 7. Clemens versus Candelaria, and Clemens proved why he was dominant. Game 1 be damned. Jim Rice put up a 3-run home run to make it 7-0, and the game was over. Dwight Evans did hit a home run himself, but it was just amazing. The Red Sox won 8-1, and they did it. It was their first time in the World Series since 1975, and they came back from 3-1 down in the LCS, making it the second straight time that it happened. 85, the Royals took care of the Blue Jays, well, down 3-1 in the LCS. And if things were reverting to the form from 69 to 84 with the LCS, the Angels would have went to the finals. So anyway, it was huge for the Red Sox. They got to the World Series to face the New York Mets, who had to struggle with Houston, winning in 6 games, despite the fact the Mets won 108 games that year. The Mets needed to win Game 6 against the Astros because if they had missed, then Mike Scott was going to pitch Game 7, and he was 2-0 against them. So the Red Sox were decent and all that. They actually went to Shea Stadium and took the first 2 games of the World Series, so that was a great moment. Red Sox were up 3-2 after the series went to Boston for 3 games, and all of a sudden, they had a chance. But we all know about Bill Buckner's ball through the legs, but people forget Bob Stanley's wild pitch tied the game. As much as you got to blame Buckner, I mean, Bob Stanley fucked it up, and the Red Sox kind of screwed themselves over. The Mets would win Game 7 of the World Series. Unfortunately, the Angels would be in massive agony and all that. Reggie Jackson had played his last playoff series. He would go to Oakland for the 87 season. They didn't do well. He should have stayed on for 88. But anyway, Mr. October did his job. G. Mock would suffer in 1986. It was the last major chance to win the pennant. In 26 years as manager, his name was always linked with coming up just short. He was the manager in 64 when the Phillies collapsed the NL lead through the final 2 weeks of the season. And Mock would help the Angels win the division title in 82 and 86. Sadly, though, both times were meltdowns. 82, the Angels were up 2-0 on the Brewers in the best of 5. But the problem was the first 2 games were in California, and then the next 3 were in Milwaukee, so Milwaukee used home field advantage. Mock would retire in 1987 with winning 1,900 games out of 3,942. And of course, let's not forget about Donnie Moore. This really ruined it. He was made the GOAT for giving up Anderson's home run in Game 5 and then the sac fly. I mean, okay, you give up the home run, but you could have yanked him for somebody else to probably pitch California out of their mess. All that. The sports media and the fans never let him forget it. And Moore sank into depression and alcoholism and would fatally shoot himself July 1989. He did shoot his wife Tanya, but she survived somehow. So that was huge. Poor Donnie Moore. I mean, if the Angels had won Game 6 or 7, we wouldn't even be caring about Donnie Moore's miss. It would be like, oh, it's just a blip. The Angels did, in 2002, get their glory. They won the AL wild card, dethroned the Yankees in the division series, which was hard to do because the Yankees had been to 4 straight World Series. They beat Minnesota for the pennant in 5 games, and then they beat San Francisco in 7 games, even though, the Giants deserved it. But anyway, I always say, fuck that rally monkey. The Red Sox and Angels would meet again in the postseason in 2004. Red Sox would sweep in the LDS in 3 games, thanks to Manny Ramirez's home run over the monster in left field, which unfortunately was compounded a few hours later as I went to the hospital for appendicitis. Thank God my brother was there to help me out in these things. 2007, the Angels and Red Sox would meet in the LDS, and Ortiz put a massive home run in a sweep. Well, they met in the 2008 ALDS, and the Red Sox did win 3-1. But the Angels had lost 11 straight playoff games against the Red Sox. Of course, the 3 games in 1986 ALCS, the sweep in 2004, the sweep in 2008, no, 2007, and then losing the first 2 games in 2008 before winning one. The Angels did beat the Red Sox in the ALDS in 2009, so, they got some kind of revenge, but not all of it. And I feel bad for Donnie Moore, I really do. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond at Duke.